Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. We are heading out of 2025, making our way to 2026. But before we do, I feel like I can confidently speak for everyone here when I say 2025 was a year. It counts. It was a year. Yeah, I can say that much, man. So as I said, we're heading out of 2025, 2026, coming on strong, coming on quickly. Who knows what fragrances await us? Technically, 2 fragrances I creatively directed come out next year, but you know, it's a small, tiny drip in the huge ocean of what awaits. Watch next year be like the worst year ever for fragrances. Ugh, knock on wood. But I say, before 2026, let's talk about some of the best stuff from this year, 2025. So that's what we're doing today. I'm talking about some of my favorite fragrances that I smelled this year. All of these are gonna be linked in the description, so feel free to check them out down there. I've got a bit of a mix here, a bunch of different fragrances, so let's jump straight into it with this one, Gentleman Society Ambrée, which feels like it's been out longer than it has. This one feels like it's been out for longer than a year already. It's weird how that happens. Like, time goes fast and slow at the same time. This guy right here, to me, the best of the whole Gentleman Society lineup, which, to be fair, is not a huge lineup at this point, but if I were gonna pick just one, it'd be this one. This one has Orris and Narcissus, so you get like a double floral aspect in the mid, has vanilla, tobacco, of course, amber, or at least an ambery type of scent profile. It's a little bit powdery, but also really classy, gentlemanly, sexy, refined, pretty much what you would want and expect from a gentleman release. And to me, this is a return to form for the gentleman lineup. Not that the 2 Society fragrances before it were bad, because they weren't. It's just, for me, I put Reserve Privé, Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense, Boisé, Eau de Parfum, all of those gentleman fragrances above the Society one. So it was like a clear delineation, like, okay, these ones are really good and they're up here, and the Society ones are not too bad, they're somewhere around here. But then this one gets Gentleman back to where it was with the other releases. So just really well done, great stuff. It probably will appeal more to people really into fragrances, I will say that. It's not as much of an instant people pleaser as a lot of the other ones coming up. Like this one, Extra Dose by Valentino, part of their Born in Roma lineup, similar to Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense, which I absolutely adore, but this one is somehow even stronger. I don't know if that's necessary, but it is, because they put an extra dose in there of something. I'm not sure exactly what the dose is that's extra. I guess fragrance? Oil? I don't know. Didn't think that through. Not very funny. This one has lavender in it, so clean, masculine, also sweet, a little bit of spiciness as well. Not as sweet as Born in Roma Intense, so some people are going to gravitate more towards Extra Dose if they like that scent profile that Intense had, but they wish the sweetness was just dialed down a little bit, and that, you know, classically masculine side just bumped up a little bit. That's what this is. Let's see. Okay, the next one is a clone fragrance. It's from Armaf, Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. I really like the original Mandarin Sky, which is Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal. Smells really similar to that. This also smells similar to Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, but this one has obviously the Elixir touch, which means it's better, I guess. Oh no, that's not what the Elixir touch is. The Elixir touch with this one just means it's been touched by Invictus Victory Elixir. Yeah, so basically take Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, take some of that vanilla from Invictus Victory Elixir, sprinkle it in here. That's what you got. Great performance, great price, great quality, a lot of good stuff going on here. Some people may not like this thermos bottle style, which I got to admit, the first time I saw it, I thought it looked kind of goofy. Because it looks like this is a cap that's attached here, but actually, the whole thing is a cap. This is just a piece of plastic that they made try to look like a thermos. But Armaf says heck with it, because they have rolled out like 23 of these this year. Maybe not that many, but a lot. Back to the designer realm, Acqua di Giò Elixir. Yes, another elixir. Are there more elixirs down here? Yes. Acqua di Giò Elixir is one that's grown on me more over the year. So when I first tried this, I liked it, thought it was good. Why'd I do that? It got in my eye. So this is one that's grown on me a lot over the year. When I first smelled it, I liked it. Thought it smelled nice, really well done, but definitely reminiscent of a couple of things. The first thing, of course, Acqua di Giò. For a lot of people, more Acqua di Giò Parfum, you know, that somewhat deeper Acqua di Giò, but Acqua di Giò. And that part makes sense, Acqua di Giò Elixir. The other part, Dior Fahrenheit, which maybe that doesn't actually make as much sense. But basically, this is like if you took Acqua di Giò Parfum, that kind of style, and then mixed it with a bit of Fahrenheit cologne from Dior, which a lot of people out there, like a whole lot of people nowadays, are not going to be familiar with Fahrenheit cologne or Aqua Fahrenheit, which was the predecessor to Fahrenheit cologne in that, like, you know, summertime Fahrenheit vibe that Dior tried to make a thing for a while, which they also had a bunch of other flankers that were lesser known, like summer, like Fahrenheit flankers and 0 degree and all kinds of stuff like this. Fahrenheit 32. Look, nobody can ever accuse Dior of not trying to make summertime Fahrenheit a thing. They tried. But this is like taking that and putting it into a blender with Acqua di Giò. And of course, the gut reaction is to see that and go, this sucks. They're just taking two different fragrances and smacking them together. But then you wear it for a while and you go, it does smell pretty good though. And that's essentially where I'm at. I love the way it smells, good performance, a nice little different take on Acqua di Giò. Let's do one of the other elixirs. It is Forever Wanted Elixir by Azzaro. Look, I make no bones about it. I love the way this stuff smells. It's raspberry, it's leather. That's really the main thing you need to wrap your head around, just those two notes. There are other notes, but those are the two main ones. The raspberry off the top, amazing. A little bit tart, sweet. Little hint of freshness, very attention grabbing. The leather in here, wearable, very versatile, good for fall and winter time. Quite different from the other Wanted fragrances, which I also appreciate because it's kind of doing its own thing. The one thing that I do want to say, and I bring this up a lot, so hopefully somebody eventually sees it, the atomizer sucks. Guys, stop with these trashomizers. Because there's another fragrance coming up that has a trashomizer. They're no good, no trashomizers. The next fragrance is a certified banger. But before we get to that, here's some certified coupons. So we got codes for Joma Shop that only work within the Joma Shop app. So make sure that you use those anytime you shop in the app. I legitimately just placed an order over $400 on Joma Shop, and I had to add everything on the app and check out. It's kind of annoying, but it takes longer on the app, but yeah. Also have codes for the Perfume Box, Frag Flex, Gift Express, many more. All right, the next scent, Khamrah Dukhan by Lattafa. Another one that to me feels like it's been out for longer than this year, but the internet says no, it has in fact been less than a year. So obviously this is a flanker in the Khamrah lineup, and this one has more of a tobacco, sort of lightly smoky aspect to it. Great sweetness, amplified power compared to the original Khamrah, which especially nowadays, a lot of people complain about Khamrah, saying that it's just weak, doesn't get the job done. This one thankfully does, and this is one of those ones that has grown on me as time has gone on. So not that I disliked it originally, but I like it more today than when I first got this in. And of course, you could always say part of that is due to the whole maturation of the fragrance, since it is a clone, but at the end of the day, I think it just kind of grew on me. The next choice, Stronger With You Parfum by Emporio Armani. This one is not a flanker that's really trying to like push boundaries. It's not really trying to do anything super new or unique in the line that it's a part of. It's basically just taking Stronger With You and then saying, hey, well, what if we made that into a parfum? Which that's fine. You don't always need a fragrance that's gonna come in and just, you know, turn everything on its head and try to do something quirky and different just to be like, hey, look how unique I am. Because that's not always the best way to do it. And sometimes that's a complete misfire and the fragrance comes out and sucks. Sauvage Eau Forte. Was it, huh? A cough, like, but yeah, we need to accept that sometimes being quirky and different, just so you can be like, I'm quirky and different, is not really it. Chestnut, lavender, vanilla, pink, pepper, mandarin orange. Some of the notes here, again, pretty simple. Just a more grown up, less sticky sweet, richer, deeper, slightly more elegant, Stronger With You. One aspect of this fragrance that I do think is funny, especially on tester strips, when I first spray it on and smell it, it reminds me of barbecue sauce for some reason. It goes away pretty quickly, but there's a split second. Every time I smell this, I'm like, ugh, that's so friggin' weird. And then it goes away and I'm like, oh, so much better. Let's keep it moving with the next one. Why Le Parfum, the new iteration. 2025, I guess. This is such a common occurrence nowadays where you have a new iteration of a fragrance where they just slightly change up the color scheme on the bottle or whatever, and they keep the fragrance name the exact same, and they just slap a new year on the end of it. So yeah, Violet Parfum 2025, the original Violet Parfum discontinued. Atomizer sucks. So obviously this is a replacement for the original Violet Parfum, which is amazing by the way, but that one discontinued. As of when I'm filming this video, you can still find it though. Eventually there will come a time where it's harder to find that, but right now, thankfully you still can. This one is, to me, noticeably more woodsy compared to the OG. Has notes like pine in there that you can pick up pretty early on. There's ginger, bergamot, balsam fir, and also amber in here as well. So the sweetness is actually toned down a little bit. Then as I said, it's more woodsy, so you're gonna get more of that. This slightly like aromatic green aspect in here. It's drawn some comparisons to Y Elixir in terms of how it smells. The performance is solid, lasts a long time, projects pretty well. But with it replacing a very beloved fragrance, it's got a lot of hate. Yeah, a lot of people just not showing a whole bunch of love to it. I really enjoy how it smells. I think it's great, highly versatile, people pleasing, all of that stuff, but I do like the original more. So there is that. It's just that with Dior Homme 2020, when that came out, I really hated that. When Dior Homme 2020 was new, I was a little pissed baby. I was whining, I was complaining. How can you do this, Dior? How dare you? Just really thumb up butt, you know? And as time went on, I wore Dior Homme 2020 more and more, and I was like, this was actually pretty good. Same thing with like Dior Homme Sport, the new one. Same deal there. And so with this one, you know, it's like, well, I don't want a history to repeat itself and just be out here like, oh, it sucks, and then wear it over the next year and go, that's actually pretty good. So with this one, I kept an open mind and I liked it right off the rip. It smells great. I love the original one more, but this stuff is still good. Now, when it comes to Dior Homme Parfum, the new version, I will say, like, the original one for me is just up here, like masterpiece level, and the new version is fantastic if you're looking for a sweeter type of scent profile, modern scent profile with a little freshness, like a starter iris fragrance, whereas iris off the top that you can easily pick up, but then it fades fairly quickly into more like vanilla kind of warm sweetness, you know? That one is really good if you're looking for that. But as far as like the best things I smelled this year, it doesn't make my list. Because what it does, I kind of like a little more in other fragrances, but I understand where that one would absolutely crush for a lot of people. Let's go tobacco, Zenith tobacco. This one is by French Avenue. Pretty nondescript packaging, but it smells similar to Tobaccoler by Dior. And this is just one of those ones where value for price is just, but you do have to like tobacco type fragrances. So if you don't like those, then you won't like this one. But to be fair, if you don't like tobacco type fragrances, why would you buy something named Zenith Tobacco? I realize that for 99% of people, they're like, yeah, of course, duh. Like, what are you talking about? But I guarantee you, there are people out there who bought this or will buy this, and then they'll be like, I just don't really like tobacco scents. I think it sucks. What? I can't tell you how many reviews and things I've read over the years where like stuff like that just happens and you go like, how do you live? Yeah, man, I went to an Italian restaurant, I got some pasta. God, I hated it. I hated it. To be fair, I do hate pasta and Italian restaurants, but I gave it a shot and I hated it. But I already knew I was gonna hate it, but I did it anyway because I hate myself. Don't do that, don't do that. There are a couple of other Dior Tobaccoler alternatives on the market, but this one I think is the best. Like, I'd put that right at the tippy top. Next scent, let's go Spicebomb. This is Metallic Musk. Metallic Musk is intriguing in that what it does is basically just take Spicebomb and then makes it fresher, easier to wear for especially spring, summer, but just easier to wear in general, and then adds in a kind of smooth musk from the mid into the dry down. And I'm on record as saying that the name to me is very boring. Metallic Musk, it's just like, it just doesn't really resonate with me. I think that for a lot of other people, it's kind of similar thing, you know? And this is something that I've kind of realized more and more over the years of doing the channel, but flanker names play a big part in the initial excitement of a fragrance. So if the flanker name is really cool and attention grabbing and it feels cohesive, like what they're trying to put together for the fragrance, people will get way more excited, myself included. If it feels well put together with a great name, everything kind of pops, you're like, oof, I gotta check this out. But then you have stuff where it just feels kind of like, you know, smushed together, just kind of puked out. And you're like, And I've brought this up before, but with Le Beau, Paradise Garden. Paradise Garden was announced. Cool name, cool note breakdown. They put the little leaf over the boner, you know, whatever. He has a cod piece, I guess. It's like he's wearing a cup. Like, come on, dude. Nobody walks around like that with just an enormous frigging bulge. Like, ridiculous. Le Beau.
I gotta run to the store for some undershorts. I just broke my last pair of underwear with my dong. It is such a drag having such a huge hog.
But yeah, that one, everyone was like, oh, cool. And then Flower Edition. Flower Edition. Okay. That sounds okay. The level of excitement was like this. Same thing with Metallic Musk. So I initially kind of wrote this one off in my mind, but then wearing it, it's really, really well done. Kind of a return to form for Spicebomb. I have 5 more, time to speed up. Maison Asrar Muharib. So this one right here is Xerjov's Naxos. Great tobacco fragrance. Once again, I'm a fan of tobacco. Obviously got these 2 right here. It captures what Naxos does extremely well. Once again, the quality much higher than you would expect for the price point that you pay. Little aromatic off the rip, very classy, gentlemanly, refined, nice pipe tobacco with honey as it dries down. Smells great. If you are looking for a Naxos alternative, it is this and Fierte Luna by French Avenue. Those are the 2 best. Ralph's Club New York up next. Yes, yes. Oh, it's good. Now, I'm not gonna say that blue fragrances are dying because they're not. The best-selling fragrances out there are blue fragrances for the most part. But I do feel like more and more brands are trying to look at getting that blue fragrance money as far as giving you something that you could wear just about whenever you want without smelling like a blue fragrance. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, blue fragrance isn't even necessarily a thing, which you're wrong. If you smell Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, YSL, especially like the Eau de Toilette, a Dylan Blue, Acqua Essenziale Blue, or any of the other fragrances that compete with those, Dolce & Gabbana's K, stuff like that, none of them smell the same. But when you smell them, you can go, oh, I get it. They don't always have the exact same notes, but very often it's that sort of ambroxan forward, citrus, ginger, geranium, lavender, light incense kind of vibe. A lot of those share. Yeah. As I said though, a lot of brands are slowly moving away from that, but still trying to do the exact same thing. And that's what this is. You still wear this whenever you want. It's made to be worn, used, purchased again, used, purchased again, used. It's not the type of fragrance where they're like, oh, he'll bust it out for special occasion, maybe a date every so often or a black tie event. Nah, they're just like, wear it whenever you want, dude, just wear it. Wear it a lot. Fresh, clean, modern, masculine, smells great. The last elixir, 9 p.m. elixir, and this is a 2 for 1. Or actually it's a 2 for 2 because there's 15 and there's 2 here, so whatever. 9 p.m. elixir, Le Male Elixir Absolute. I realized I was wrong. Earlier I said there were 2 more elixirs, there were technically 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is similar to this in many ways, but doesn't smell the exact same. Elixir Absolute over here, not quite as honeyed as Le Male Elixir, instead has plum in there, which gives it a different type of sweetness when you first spray it on. Slightly more grown up, but still keeping a playful edge to it. Fantastic for fall and winter time, big compliment puller, and one of those ones that did grow on me as time went on. This one here has a slightly different note breakdown compared to Elixir Absolute, so if you compare them here, you can see the different notes. This one leaning a little bit more on warm spice and vanilla, but within Elixir Absolute feel. Another one, obviously, big compliment puller and all of that, and a well done 9 p.m. And the final fragrance, Myself Absolute. Not massively different from the original Myself, but still smells great. The opening with the added ginger in there, really attention grabbing. And it is that type of fragrance, kind of like this guy right here, that you can wear pretty much year round. Just great stuff, really enjoy this, and actually really love the Myself line at this point. There we go. Some of the best stuff I have smelled this year, at least from the designer and clone ranks. Let me know in the comments what your favorite designer or clone fragrance that you've smelled so far this year is. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.